let's go. When the voices arise from the storm and immortalized. You can find me below. I let the enemy know. When the voices arise from the storm and immortalized. You can find me below. I let the enemy know.
Today, it is August 30th, 2018. My name is Hollywood J. Black, and this is the Ovatyme Sports Show. Looky here, looky here, looky here. Welcome to the show, everyone. I know it's a bit late. I'm sorry that I get into y'all a little bit later than I like to, but the work grind must go on. And I've got to do my thing. So that's about it. Don't be mad at me. Just respect the hustle. Yada what I mean? Yada what I'm saying? So anyways, again, this is the Ovatyme Sports Show. This is your boy Hollywood J. Black, live in the building once again. And today we have some great stuff going on. I know normally they say that this is the time of the year where it kind of gets a little slow, right? No, not at all. Actually, this is the time of the year that gets popping. Some real shit going on. Let me throw on the headphones real quick. Bada boom, realest guys in the room. How you doing? Throw it on. We good. So anyways, yes, this is your boy Hollywood J. Black. We had a lot of stuff going on, some big news in quarterback land, Some new opportunities presented themselves. Somebody got paid. Somebody got kicked off the bus. So let's talk about that. Let's go right into let's segue right into this. So the deal is done, ladies and gentlemen. Teddy Bridgewater, formerly of the Minnesota Vikings and as of this past preseason, formerly of the New York Jets, has been traded to the New Orleans Saints for a third-round pick and some other ish. Here we go. So yes, we got the big deal going on. Teddy Bridgewater is now a New Orleans Saint. The story that came out of this, but I might add, is that Teddy Bridgewater found out while he was on the bus. And all of a sudden, they decided they traded him, and then they kicked him off the bus. He told everybody bye. They kicked him off the bus, caught a plane, and now his ass is headed to New Orleans. That's got to be the most fucked up thing. They could have took the nigga at least to the airport. You know what I'm saying? God damn. I mean, he was on the bus. They could have took that nigga to the airport or something. That's just wilding out. But I digress. We're talking about the New York Jets, by the way, so nothing really surprises me with their candy asses. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Let's really talk about what this means for the New Orleans Saints and what this means for the New York Jets. It really comes down to this. What it means for the New Orleans Saints is that when the Drew Brees era is done, they have a quarterback waiting in the wings to take over. I really think that these last 2 years that Drew Brees is up, especially now that they've transitioned into more of a running attack with Kamara and Ingram, that they've taken the pressure, they've installed a great defense in New Orleans. I remember we just talked about this. I have New Orleans and Tampa Bay as my pick to make the playoffs out of the AFC South. But real talk, all BS aside, this is huge for New Orleans. This is the first time that New Orleans has ever truly invested in the present and the future at the same time. They've secured probably the best potential backup given the system for New Orleans. They've secured Sean Payton's job. they've secured Drew Brees to have a successor. They've said that not only are we going to attempt to win now, we are going to attempt to win for years to come. I mean, nobody's going to come in here and say that Teddy Bridgewater should be starting over Drew Brees. Oh, hell no. Nobody's going to say that. Not the way that Drew Brees has been performing. Nobody's going to say that. However, excuse me, I had to take a drink of water. However, they will say that when Drew Brees is finally done, that they don't have to look anywhere else for a quarterback. They can invest in themselves. They can invest in securing, better defenders, better receivers, tight ends, et cetera, et cetera. I really think that Teddy Bridgewater, if they baby him enough, by the time after year 2 comes of the last part of the Drew Brees era, and hell, who knows, Drew Brees can say, let me stick around and be a coach for a while. We all know that New Orleans is his home. Don't get it twisted. We all know that he has made New Orleans his life place. So who's to say, what's to prevent Drew Brees from saying, let me be the quarterback coach to get Teddy Bridgewater to the next level? Let's talk. That's real. Let's look at that. This is a long-term plan. It's not only just about now. This is about the future. And I think, to me, that's even more special, that they've said we're going to win now and we're going to win later. That's the beauty of it. That's how a smart team works. That's very New England-y, if you will. You right? Right? I'm just saying. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I don't think that we should discount that under any circumstance. But I digress, because this is the way that real teams are done. Now, for the Jets, this is literally an investment for the future. They decided to go young. They've decided that, hey, we need to kind of dial this back a little bit and say to ourselves, maybe, just maybe, that we need to actually build a team. The last time they've actually built a team was when Chad Pennington was the quarterback. You think about that for a second. This is real spit. So and I'll tell you why this is for the future, because the Jets traded Bridgewater and their 2019 6th-round draft pick to the New Orleans Saints for a 2019 3rd-round draft pick. Remember, 3rd-round draft picks, and this is for people that aren't really familiar with the draft process. So if the 1st and the 2nd round are the places where you draft your stars, the 3rd and 4th rounds and possibly 5th rounds where you draft your workhorses, and then the 6th and 7th rounds are those on the bubble kind of guys that you really want to see what they're capable of. So by going with saying the 3rd round, they're saying we're going to team build. We're going to establish ourselves for the long term, because they know that Tom Brady's not going to be around forever, even though he said he'd like to. They got Sam Darnold, who's been playing solidly. Sam Darnold might end up actually taking the Jets. I mean, I was looking at Bridgewater starting, but with Sam Darnold, the Jets might end up, 6-10, 7-9 this year. Also, I mean, who knows? In a couple years, they might, if they swing it, they might end up in the playoffs in a couple years. But they built this. They said, "Hey, we are invested in our future." The Saints said, "We are invested in now and the future." I'm excited. This is exciting times for football. So now let's talk about the other big, real big news that came out of football land. I'm talking about that bad man, Aaron Rodgers, getting PAID as well after the big bombshell that was Odell Beckham Jr. Aaron Rodgers signs a record extension for 4 years, $134 million. That could be worth over $180 million if all incentives are hit. That means this man could be making $45 million a year. $45 million. That's nasty. When the deal is done, he's going to be 40 years old. So that's saying we're going to take this to the end. We're going to ride this out however it goes. Green Bay's invested that deep. They're also invested that deep to where Seattle traded Brett Huntley, but he was kind of expendable because of DeShone Kizer. DeShone Kizer, that's another interesting prospect too, because he's performed very well, looking like Aaron Rodgers light. If Kizer has to take over for Rodgers, which you know how bad the Packers O-line is, and you know how he is, it just might be something special there too. You just might see something great. I don't know, but Aaron Rodgers is making some serious cash. You got to ask yourself, and I say this all the time. Yes, they paid this man $40-some million a year, and athletically probably the most gifted quarterback that is out there. But there's only one GOAT in the NFL right now, and his name is Tom Brady. Because of that, I don't really feel that he deserves that kind of money. And I know I'm probably going to get some slack for it too, but I'm being dead honest with you. I don't think that Aaron Rodgers deserves that kind of money when he hasn't won a Super Bowl. Well, he's only won one. He's won one Super Bowl. He couldn't get anything else done. He's been oft injured, and they paid this man. They're going to pay this man up to $180 million. You think about that for a second. Think about what kind of job performance. Imagine you going to work at McDonald's, and you're the best fry cook. Maybe not you're not legendary, but you're the best fry cook. You come through in the clutch when they need you to. You make the right fry tosses. You flip the burgers just right. You know what I'm saying? But you're always out on PTO because your wrist hurts or your flipping arm is all twisted and you can't do nothing. And then yet when you come back full health, they pay you more than the managers do. This is exactly what the problem is. And let's say they're not better. Let's say you're not better than the guy flipping burgers at Five Guys, because you know the guy flipping burgers at Five Guys, man, and they cooking them fries too. If you ever been to Five Guys, you know that's a way better burger than McDonald's. And that's how you look at it. That's how exactly what I'm looking at it. The greatest McDonald's fry cook is getting paid more than the greatest cook at a higher quality restaurant. I don't think he deserves it, but he is that good to where if he was healthy the whole time, then yes, I would say that he deserves it, but he's not. He doesn't deserve it. And I know that's going to be a shitty thing to say. I know, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry that's a shitty thing to say, but it's 100% true and 200% on point. And if you doubt me on it or you question me on it, feel free to debate me on it. But the fact of the matter is that Aaron Rodgers hasn't played enough games for me to want to give him $180 million. I'm gonna repeat that say it louder for the people in the back of the room. I don't think that Aaron Rodgers deserves $180 million when you've played less games than the person that is considered the greatest quarterback of all time, and he makes less. That's a fact. Now, again, if you want to debate me on it, debate me on it. Fight me, bro. Fight me. Anyways, back to what the lecture at hand. So, will this be the incentive that gets Aaron Rodgers back into the playoffs? Yes, they got Jimmy Graham. I am full aware that they have Jimmy Graham. But what they don't have is anything else that can beat any other team in the NFC West. Yes, they'll probably go 9-7. They might even go 10-6. But that's not going to stop them when they have to run into a buzzsaw like the Niners or the Rams or the Giants, who have a hellacious running game. The Eagles, if Carson Wentz is back, that's not going to stop them. That's not going to stop the Philadelphia. I mean, they're not going to stop Alex Smith and the Washington Redskins in the playoffs if they get there. They still have defensive holes that they have yet to fill. They still have O-line problems, and that's the reason why Aaron Rodgers got hurt. This is a rough situation. You're paying this man all this money, and now you can't improve your team. Too bad. How sad. I guess we move on. Anyways, So let's back to the situation. Let's talk about it. We got some games on deck for the preseason. A ton, 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 ton. Give me a second here. Ton, 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 ton. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, sorry. I should probably get to that now, right? Ha. Give me a second here. I got to pull this up real quick. My internet is acting kind of wonky on my mobile device. I do have notes. So we got a few really, really good games on deck for the preseason. So here's what we got going on tomorrow. This is the last week of the preseason, so y'all better get in where you fit in. So tomorrow, actually, we got a full slate all day tomorrow. That's where the big games come in. Guess that means I have a big ass recap show on Friday. So we got Miami at Atlanta, Indianapolis at Cleveland. Indianapolis at Cincinnati, Cleveland at Detroit, New England at New York Giants, the Jets at the Eagles, the Panthers at the Steelers, the Jaguars at the Bucks, the Redskins at the Ravens, the Bills at the Bears, the Vikings at the Titans, the Rams at the Saints, the Cowboys at the Texans, the Packers at the Chiefs, the Broncos at the Cardinals, the Chargers at the against my Niners, and finally the Raiders against the Seahawks. Games I'm interested in. Of course, I'm interested in my Chargers Seahawks game. I'm also interested in Minnesota, Tennessee. I'm interested in Jacksonville and Tampa Bay. Jets and Eagles I'm interested in as well, and then Cleveland and Detroit. Well, this is going to be the Teddy B show? It just might. I'm not sure, but not the Teddy B show. I'm sorry. I got my shit mixed up. It's not the Teddy B show. That's not what I'm saying. Is it going to be the who's your boy Baker Mayfield show? That's the question I had. Is this going to be all Baker Mayfield? Who knows? But you got to love it, right? This is going to be awesome. Full slate last week. So that means that when I drop the show on Saturday, the week 4 of the NFL preview, when me and Big Sin drop the show on Saturday, we going to give a Super Bowl prediction. Bold Super Bowl prediction. And you may not like it, but you got to learn to love it. And this is going to be fun. So get your popcorn ready for this Saturday and stay tuned. It's going to be a bumpy ride. So anyways, next on deck, so I don't know if anybody's noticed or been living under a rock, but the LeBron James has his own show on HBO called Shop Talk. They're in a barbershop, and apparently every week that he has his show, he's going to have random celebrities pop in. This week, I'll tell you who he had at the show. Give me a second here. This week I thought was pretty interesting because he had Draymond Green on the show on Shop Talk. He had Snoop Dogg. He had his best friend Maverick Carter. He has Odell Beckham. He had Draymond Green, which was interesting. There's a quotable I have to take from Draymond Green. Now, you know Draymond Green. You think that sometimes I told you this is all entertainment because you think that these two men have beef, right? Draymond Green is under the impression that LeBron James is in fact the greatest of all time. He's became the greatest of all time Not anything necessarily what he's done on the court, because that adds up to it too, but what he's done off the court to establish himself as the star of the NBA. Now, whether you agree with that or not is really not really up for debate. That's not what I want to debate. But I think that it's an interesting quibble coming from a rival that defends, that has to box out and defend this man on the court, is now defending his stance off the court. Now, the other key is that, you know, he said in this interview too, I thought another thing was that he said that, quote unquote, that he really didn't like white people. That growing up, that he really didn't like white people. He didn't like how he was treated by white people. But as he grew up and went to an all-white Catholic school, that he understood that, you know, we're all different, but yet we're all the same. And then eventually that's how he came to be the greatest basketball player of all time. Well, in his mind. I don't debate whether he is or not, because I think it's a generational thing. And I think that we'll never truly find the answer. Like the real talk, there'll never be another team like the 96, 97, 98 Bulls. It just won't. He's got to deal with it. But it's a hot take. It's an interesting hot take. And I think that we should all take advantage of that. If you can, watch the show on HBO. You'll get a lot out of it. I've already watched the preview, and I'm thoroughly impressed. It's a pretty good show. All right. So last but not least, as we end this thing, we're going into the Major League Baseball rundown. Now, Major League Baseball, we're closing out the season. I keep talking about this because we're closing out on the season. The Oakland A's were poised to steal the division from the Houston Astros, but they lost. They got swept in their series. They brought out the brooms on them. Meanwhile, Seattle has crept back up. Meanwhile, Cleveland is holding on to the Central. Meanwhile, Boston, New York, and Tampa are clinging on. So it's gonna look like Boston, New York, Houston, Oakland, Cleveland, and whoever sneaks in between Tampa Bay and Seattle should be interested in and that's for the playoffs. Now, for the AL, in the NL, it's a little bit tricky because remember I told you we got some teams vying for some spots. The Giants are 6 games back from first place. They could sneak in. We have 30 games left. 30 games left. So we have Atlanta, Philadelphia, Washington, all can over this next course can win the AL East. Things can go really bad for each team. Although Atlanta looks to be in firmly control of the division, it's the wild card that we worry about, Philadelphia and Washington. Now you have Chicago Cubs, the Cardinals, and the Brewers all fighting in the NLC Central. And then you have the Dodgers, the Rockies, and the Diamondbacks all fighting in the NL West. So 9 players, only 9 teams. I said 9 players. 9, 6. Let's try this again. 9 teams are vying for a playoff spot. Well, and 10 if you include the Giants, and hell, if you really want to get Grizzly, 11 if you include the Pittsburgh Pirates. All vying for a playoff spot. This shit is blown way wide the fuck open. I like it. This is where good playoff baseball comes from, is that race to the playoffs. The race to the playoffs itself. You got 30 games to make an impact. You just do it, and you don't ask no questions. So now, who your bets are on? I think the Dodgers are going to sneak in. And I think that it'd be interesting. The Cubs secure it. I personally think that Oakland's going to steal the AL West. They're going to steal it from Houston. I really think so. I don't see it going any other way. Schedule's too SAWFT soft. But I digress. So here's what it comes down to, ladies and gentlemen. Friday, we got a show to do. Friday is not just a good show. It's not a bad show. It's just the show. And on the show, we'll be going over the NFL preseason. I also want to talk right now. My man Big Sin has got a we got a new thing going on called the Infamous Wrestling Federation. And the Infamous Wrestling Federation shit off, man. Dude, it's popping over there. I wish I could be like, hey, you gotta check this out. But man, check my timeline. You gotta see this for yourself. This is insane. I didn't think it would be so crazy, but it is. It fucking is. You just gotta see it. I want to throw a video up on there, but it's been stalling it every time I try to put it up there. Just go and see it. Just stop. Get some help. Go see the video. It's lit. It's lit. I'll even replay it for you when I get back on later. I'll even repost. So this is your boy James, aka Hollywood J Black, live in the building. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Hope everybody enjoys themselves. And catch us Friday. We're going to go over the show. We're going to go over the scores. We're going to tell you what happened. But until then, we out this bitch. Deuces.